Let's talk about the history of RTT. So, industry-wide, people know the name Col-Met. Been around for a long time. But a lot of people don't understand how Col-Met started. So let's go back to the early days,
Okay.
when, where, how that started.
All right. Yeah. So if you go back to the early days, you'd be back in 1996, around about that time. And our owner, Eric Jones, was working for Jim Collier, which is Collier Metals,
Okay.
which is sort of where Col-Met
The
would come
coal,
from.
the
That's where the
CAO,
Col-Met-
the COL comes from.
That's exactly right.
All right.
And around that time, Eric had some previous experience with some finishing companies. He had worked during the summer, doing some things. And so he had a little experience with that. Well, the Vilbus, was sort of out of the paint booth business around that time. Binks was going out. And it was sort of like there was a need in the market, to be filled. And so he took that to Jim Collier and said, hey, I think we already have the machinery because Col-Met builds lawn edging. And so they had a lot of the metalworking machinery already. And so they kind of hit the ground running right there, right? It's just like had some distribution partners early on that needed booths, and they didn't know where to go to get them. And we sort of facilitated a need, back then. And as we progressed through the years, Eric Jones and Jim Collier had made an agreement that, hey, let's break out the spray booths away from, the lawn edging, and Col-Met Spray Booths was born. And then as we moved kind of through our company's evolution, we kind of rebranded to Col-Met Engineered Finishing, as a lot of people may know us as, which would be our most recent name other than the RTT name. Because we don't just build spray booths, and we felt like we needed people to understand that we built more equipment in the finishing industry than just spray booths.
Right.
And then what kind of happened here, and the reason why we went to RTT is nothing changed inside the company, but that business arrangement between Eric Jones and Jim Collier had run its course, and we just needed to change the trade name, and it was just an agreement that had expired. And we were not, needless to say, we was a little concerned about changing the name because we had a great presence in the industry, and we're very well branded, and people knew who Col-Met Spray Booths was, or Col-Met Engineered Finishing, they knew who that name. And but we needed to make a change, and we all sat in a room, and we didn't know what to do. How do you rebrand a company that's been 20 years, running, and we kind of called our employees in. We were blessed at RTT because we have a lot of long-term employees. We have guys that have been there since day one. Since when they went out there and said, hey, we're going to make a spray booth instead of this lawn edging, there were guys that were there then, and they're still employed with us. And we sent out a survey, and we're just like, hey, when you think of, Col-Met at the time, when you think of that company, what do you think of? And what resonated through like all these responses was family. And actually, we're very proud of that. It's a very deep part of our culture at RTT. Eric Jones has done a great job of instilling that into his employees, that we're a family, and we're not a huge company. We have right under 200 employees, and so we're not huge, but we're small enough that we can have that feel. And so that resonated back to us, and really that's where the RTT was born. And a lot of people don't know what is RTT and where'd that come from, just some letters that randomly were chosen, but it's not. It's reinstating that family atmosphere that we have, and those are actually the initials of our owner's 3 children.
Yep.
So for us inside of the family, it's kind of neat, when we talk about that, because I think it's a good story, and it kind of shows who we are as a company. We're not a huge organization or a huge corporatized entity. We're a family of people that look to service our distribution partners and our ultimate end users, and we try to keep that feel, and I love the new name.
That's
because
fantastic.
Of
that is fantastic. So, well, we covered that.